The distant stars. Captain Taro Ishida stood on the bridge of the UES Nighthawk, his eyes fixed on the vast expanse of space visible through the observation windows. The Nighthawk, one of Earth's most advanced long-range patrol ships, had been his home for the past 3 years as it conducted reconnaissance missions in the outer reaches of explored space. Captain, long-range sensors are picking up an unknown contact at the edge of our sector. Lieutenant Amara Singh reported from her station. It's big, sir. Estimating it to be at least 5 times our size. Ishida turned to face her, his brow furrowed. Any IFF signals or ship registry matches? Negative, Captain. The silhouette doesn't match anything in our databases. Ishida studied the readings streaming across the main display. The unknown vessel was traveling at a remarkable speed on a direct course towards Earth. Its configuration was unlike any human ship he had seen before, all sharp angles and asymmetrical protrusions. Helm, plot, and intercept course. Lieutenant Singh, keep scanning and try to open a communication channel on all frequencies. Ensign Chen, inform Terran Command of our status and send them all the data we've collected so far. As the crew acknowledged their orders, Ishida couldn't shake the sense of unease growing in his gut. Humanity had encountered other spacefaring races before, but first contact scenarios rarely went smoothly. If this ship was indeed alien, it represented a potential threat of unknown proportions. The Nighthawk accelerated to its maximum subliminal velocity, its ion engines flaring brilliant blue against the darkness of space. As they drew closer, the alien ship's true scale became apparent. It dwarfed the human vessel, its hull composed of a matte black material that seemed to absorb the light from distant stars. Captain, I'm detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our records, Lieutenant Singh said, a note of awe in her voice. If these readings are correct, that ship is powered by something magnitudes more advanced than our best fusion reactors. Ishida's unease intensified. The technological disparity was staggering. If the aliens harbored hostile intentions, Terran defense forces might be outmatched. Any response to our hails? He asked. None, sir. Either they're ignoring us or our communication protocols are incompatible. Ishida pondered his options. Protocol dictated that he attempt to warn off the intruder with a show of force before resorting to direct engagement. If this was a first contact scenario, he had to give diplomacy a chance. Tactical, charge the forward PD batteries and launch a pattern of warning flares. Let's show our guests that we're armed and not to be trifled with. The Nighthawk's particle disruption cannon swiveled and sent searing bolts of incandescent plasma into the void ahead of the alien ship. Patterns of brilliant red flares blossomed, weaving a clear message: turn back or be fired upon. For a long, tense moment, nothing happened. Then, with a blinding flare of exotic radiation, the alien ship accelerated, blasting through the warning shots as if they were no more substantial than a light mist. In seconds, it had crossed half the distance to Earth, leaving the Nighthawk floundering in its wake. Ishida felt a cold dread settle in his stomach. The aliens had just made their intentions clear. This was no peaceful expedition or diplomatic overture. Earth was about to face a threat unlike any it had encountered before. He slammed his fist on the intercom button. All hands, battle stations. I want full power to engines and weapons. Lieutenant Singh, send an emergency FTL burst to Terran Command. Probable hostile first contact. Imminent threat to Earth. May the gods help us all. As alarms blared and the crew scrambled with grim determination, Ishida prayed they would reach Earth in time. The fate of humanity might well depend on what happened in the next few hours. The Nighthawk, for all its advanced technology, now seemed a fragile bulwark against the onrushing storm. But he pushed down his fear, focusing instead on the oaths he had sworn when he first donned the captain's uniform. To defend Earth and all her children, no matter the cost. That duty would guide him through whatever came next. The alien vessel filled the view screens, a looming nightmare of advanced technology and inscrutable intent. Ishida squared his shoulders and prepared himself for the fight of his life. One way or another, history would remember this day. The coming storm. Admiral Anita Patel strode into the Terran Defense Command Center, her face a mask of determination. Around her, uniformed officers and civilian analysts worked frantically at their stations, a palpable tension filling the air. "Status report," she barked, coming to a halt before the main holographic display. "The unknown vessel has entered the outer solar system and is decelerating towards Earth orbit," a young officer reported, his voice tight with controlled fear. "Estimated time to arrival, 2 hours." Patel nodded grimly. 2 hours. It wasn't much, but it would have to be enough. "I want all orbital defense platforms on full alert. Recall every ship in the home fleet and put the ground-based AOD batteries on standby. And someone get me the Secretary General on the line. It's time to let the civvies know what's coming." As her orders were relayed, Patel turned to the display, watching the alien ship's icon inch closer to the blue marble of Earth. In her 30 years of service, she had faced pirates, insurrectionists, and rogue AI, but this was something altogether different. An alien force of unknown capabilities and intentions. It was the stuff of nightmares, the scenario that had driven humanity to militarize space in the first place. "Admiral, I think I might have something," a voice said from behind her. Patel turned to see Dr. Liam Brennan, the command center's resident xenolinguist. Brennan was a brilliant man, one of the key figures in deciphering the languages of the few alien races humanity had encountered so far. "You've cracked their comms?" Patel asked, a flicker of hope kindling in her chest. Brennan shook his head. "Not quite. But I've been analyzing the patterns in their transmissions. I think I can put together a basic first contact package. Mathematical primitives, physical constants, that sort of thing. It might be enough to open a dialogue." Patel considered for a moment. Brennan's work represented a chance, however slim, to resolve this situation peacefully. But it was also a risk. Revealing too much about Earth's capabilities could give the aliens a strategic advantage if diplomacy failed. "Do it," she said at last. "But keep it simple. We don't want to show our whole hand just yet." Brennan nodded and hurried off, already muttering equations and linguistic theorems under his breath. Patel returned her attention to the display, watching the alien ship draw ever closer. Around her, the command center buzzed with activity. Engineers discussed defense grid power distribution, intelligence analysts pored over sensor data, and tactical officers planned contingencies for 100 different scenarios. But beneath it all was fear, raw and primal. For generations, humanity had looked to the stars and wondered if it was alone. Now, an answer was coming, and it rode on the hulls of alien warships. "Admiral, the Secretary General is online," a comms officer reported. Patel straightened her uniform, preparing herself for the most important conversation of her life. "Put him through." The holographic display shimmered, resolving into an image of a dignified older man in a suit, the weight of his office etched into the lines of his face. "Admiral Patel, I've been briefed on the situation. What are our options?" Patel took a deep breath, knowing her next words would shape the course of history. "Sir, we're doing everything we can to prepare a peaceful first contact. But if that fails, Terran Defense Forces stand ready to protect Earth and its people, whatever the cost. We will not go quietly into the night." The Secretary General nodded solemnly. "Then let us hope it does not come to that. The hopes and fears of all humanity go with you, Admiral. Godspeed." As the image faded, Admiral Patel turned back to the display, watching the alien ship hurtle towards Earth like a falling star. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was the beginning of something world-changing. A moment that would echo through history, for good or ill, for generations to come. But whatever challenges lay ahead, Patel knew one thing for certain. Humanity would face them together, united in their determination to survive and thrive among the stars. And if the aliens came with hostile intent, they would soon learn the depths of human courage and ingenuity. For when threatened, humanity had a long history of doing the impossible. It was, after all, how they had conquered the stars in the first place. The clock ticked down, the alien ship grew larger on the displays, and Terran defense forces held its breath, waiting for the moment of truth. Upon the actions of the next few hours, the fate of worlds would turn. But for now, all they could do was watch, wait, and hope. The emissary. Silence reigned over the United Nations Plaza as the alien craft descended from the sky, a sleek silver arrowhead that gleamed in the morning sun. Tanks and artillery batteries tracked its approach, their barrels trained on the intruder, while squads of power-armored Marines established a perimeter, their weapons charged and ready. But no shots were fired as the craft settled onto the plaza with a whisper of anti-gravity engines, kicking up a swirl of dust and debris. For a long moment it sat there, a tangible manifestation of the unknown, while the world held its breath. Then, with a hiss of hydraulics, a hatch opened in the craft's flank, and a ramp extended to the ground. A figure emerged, a towering humanoid shape clad in an encounter suit of matte black metal. It strode down the ramp with purposeful steps, moving with a fluid grace that belied its size. As it reached the bottom of the ramp, the figure paused, its featureless helmet scanning the assembled soldiers and dignitaries. When it spoke, its voice was a deep, resonant rumble, filtered through layers of translation software. "I am Zoran, emissary of the Galactic Council. I come in peace, but with a warning. Your species has drawn the attention of powers beyond your understanding. Powers that could crush your civilization with a thought." A murmur ran through the assembled officials, a mix of fear and defiance. Secretary General Marcus Elson stepped forward, his head held high despite the tremors in his hands. "I am Secretary General Elson, representing the United Nations of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, but we will not be cowed by threats." "What is this warning you speak of?" The alien, Zoran, regarded Elson for a long moment before replying. "Your species is young, but you have already made great strides. Your mastery of the atom, your development of artificial intelligence, your expansion into the stars. These are the marks of a civilization with great potential. But they are also the marks of a civilization that could become a threat to the established order of the galaxy." Elson frowned, his mind racing with the implications of Zoran's words. "And what is this established order? Who are these powers you speak of?" Zoran made a gesture that might have been a shrug. "The Galactic Council represents the oldest and most advanced civilizations in the known universe. For millennia, we have maintained peace and stability, guiding younger races along the path of enlightenment. But not all are content with our guidance. Some, like your own species, seek to challenge the status quo, to upset the balance of power." "And what happens to those who challenge you?" Elson asked, a note of steel entering his voice. "They are given a choice. Join us and benefit from our wisdom and technology, or stand alone and face the consequences of defiance." A chill ran down Elson's spine at the implacable finality in Zoran's words. He glanced at the soldiers around him, at the tanks and power armor that represented the pinnacle of human military might. Suddenly, they seemed very small and fragile in the face of the aliens' implied threat. But he also saw something else in the faces of those around him. Determination, resolve, the unwavering spirit that had carried humanity through countless trials and tribulations. They would not bend the knee, not without a fight. "And if we choose to stand alone?" Elson asked, his voice ringing out across the plaza. Zoran was silent for a long moment. Then, with a tone that might have been sadness or pity, it spoke. "Then you will be judge. Your worlds will be weighed in the balance, and if found wanting, you will be removed from the cosmic stage. It is the way of things. The strong flourish, the weak perish. The Galactic Council simply ensures that the process is orderly and controlled." Elson's jaw clenched, a cold fury burning in his chest. "We will not be judged," he growled. "We will not be weighed. We are humanity, and we will forge our own path, whatever the cost." Zoran's helmet tilted, as if in acknowledgement. "Then you have made your choice. The Galactic Council will deliberate, and you will be informed of our decision. Until then, consider yourselves on notice. The eyes of the universe are upon you." With that, the alien turned and strode back up the ramp, disappearing into its craft. A moment later, the silver arrowhead lifted off, accelerating into the sky and vanishing into the depths of space. In its wake, a stunned silence fell over the plaza, broken only by the distant wail of sirens and the murmur of uncertain voices. Secretary General Elson stood motionless, his mind reeling with the implications of what had just transpired. Humanity had just been given an ultimatum, a stark choice between submission and defiance, and in that choice lay the fate of their entire species. But as Elson looked around at the faces of those gathered, at the determination and resilience etched into every line, he knew there was only one path forward. Earth would fight. They would stand against the Galactic Council and all its power, and they would prove to the universe that humanity's destiny was its own to shape. The road ahead would be long and hard, filled with sacrifice and suffering, but in the end, it would be worth it. For in the crucible of conflict, legends were forged, and humanity was nothing if not legendary. The crucible. In the days following Zaren's visit, Earth descended into chaos. Riots erupted in major cities as panic spread, while governments scrambled to maintain order and devise a response to the alien ultimatum. In the halls of the United Nations, the debate raged long into the night. Some advocated for diplomacy, for seeking a peaceful accommodation with the Galactic Council. They pointed to the vast technological gulf between humanity and the alien powers, arguing that resistance was futile. Others called for defiance, for standing firm in the face of alien aggression. They invoked the long history of human resilience and ingenuity, insisting that surrender was not an option. Amidst the tumult, Dr. Liam Brennan worked feverishly in his lab, poring over the data collected from Zaren's transmission. He had always been fascinated by the idea of extraterrestrial languages, of the insights they could offer into alien minds and cultures. But as he delved deeper into the patterns and structures of the alien language, a startling realization began to dawn. The syntax, the grammar, the very cadence of the language was hauntingly familiar. It was almost as if he had seen it before. Brennan cross-referenced the alien language with every known Earth language, searching for similarities. And then, in a moment of stunned revelation, he found it. The alien language bore a striking resemblance to Sumerian, one of the oldest known human languages. The resemblance was too close to be mere chance. It suggested a shared history, a connection between humanity and the Galactic Council that stretched back to the very dawn of civilization. Brennan's mind raced with the implications. If humans and aliens shared a linguistic heritage, what did that mean for their origins, their evolution, their place in the cosmos? He knew he had to bring this information to the world's leaders. It could change everything, reshape the very nature of the debate about how to respond to the Galactic Council. Brennan burst into the United Nations General Assembly, his findings clutched in his hands. The chamber was in uproar, delegates shouting and gesticulating as they argued over the proposed courses of action. "Please, you have to listen," Brennan shouted, his voice cutting through the din. "I've discovered something incredible about the alien language. It changes everything." Slowly, the chamber fell silent, all eyes turning to the disheveled linguist. Secretary General Elson motioned for him to continue, a look of curiosity on his face. Brennan took a deep breath, then launched into his explanation. He told of the linguistic similarities, the shared roots between Sumerian and the alien tongue. He theorized about ancient contact, about a forgotten history that bound humanity to the stars. As he spoke, the mood in the chamber began to shift. Delegates who had been at each other's throats mere moments before now listened with rapt attention, their differences forgotten in the face of this revolutionary revelation. And then, from the back of the chamber, a voice rang out. It was the delegate from Iraq, the nation where the ancient Sumerian civilization had flourished. In our oldest myths, there are stories of beings from the heavens, of gods and angels who walked among men. They taught us language, writing, the secrets of the universe. We thought them mere legends, but now I wonder. A murmur ran through the assembly, a sense of awe and wonder tinged with trepidation. If the Iraqi delegate was right, if humanity's oldest stories contained a kernel of truth, then the implications were staggering. Earth was not alone in the universe, and it never had been. The Galactic Council, the alien powers that now threatened them, were in some way connected to their own distant past. Secretary General Elson called for silence, his face grave. In light of this new information, he said, I propose a third option. Not submission, not defiance, but a middle path. We approach the Galactic Council not as supplicants or rebels, but as long-lost kin. We seek to understand our shared history, to find common ground. And in doing so, perhaps we can forge a new future, one of cooperation rather than conflict. The chamber erupted in a chorus of voices, some in support, some in opposition. But Elson held firm, his gaze fixed on the stars visible through the great glass dome of the chamber. We are humanity, he said, his voice ringing with conviction. We are explorers, dreamers, seekers of truth. And now we stand on the threshold of the greatest discovery in our history, the discovery of our place in the universe. He turned to face the assembly, his eyes alight with a fierce determination. So let us go forward, not in fear, but in hope. Let us meet our cosmic kin with open hearts and open minds. And let us prove that humanity's greatest strength lies not in our weapons or our machines, but in our unquenchable thirst for knowledge and understanding. As the chamber erupted in applause, Brennan felt a sense of profound humility wash over him. In his pursuit of linguistic truth, he had stumbled upon a revelation that could change the course of human history. The road ahead would be long and uncertain, fraught with danger and difficulty. But for the first time since the alien ship had darkened Earth's skies, Brennan felt a flicker of hope. Humanity was not alone. They never had been. And in that knowledge lay the key to their salvation. The stars beckoned, and Earth would answer, not as conquerors or supplicants, but as explorers ready to take their place on the cosmic stage. It was a new dawn for humanity, and the universe would never be the same. The truth unbound. The preparations for Earth's diplomatic mission to the Galactic Council were well underway when the truth finally emerged. It came not from an alien transmission or an archaeological discovery, but from a simple, unassuming email that landed in Secretary General Elson's inbox. As the sleek, silver ship lifted off from the United Nations Plaza, carrying the hopes and fears of an entire world, Secretary General Elson stood watching, his eyes fixed on the stars. We go forward in the name of truth, he whispered, his voice heavy with the weight of history. In the name of all those who came before, all those who will come after. May the universe guide our steps, and may we have the courage to face whatever lies ahead. Aboard the ship, Dr. Liam Brennan sat hunched over his console, poring over the linguistic data that had started it all. In the patterns and structures of alien languages, he saw now not just a scientific puzzle, but a roadmap of deception, a trail of breadcrumbs left by those who had sought to control humanity's destiny. But he also saw something else, a glimmer of hope amidst the shadows. For in the very act of uncovering the truth, humanity had shown its resilience, its unquenchable thirst for knowledge and understanding. The alien manipulators had underestimated the human spirit, the sheer, stubborn tenacity that had carried them from the savannas of Africa to the stars themselves. And now, as Earth's ship hurtled towards the heart of the Galactic Council, Brennan knew that spirit would be put to the ultimate test. They would face an ancient, unfathomable power, one that had shaped the very fabric of the universe to its own ends. But they would not face it alone. They had the truth on their side, the burning light of knowledge that had guided humanity through every trial and tribulation. And they had each other, a world united in the face of the unknown. As the ship plunged into the swirling depths of hyperspace, Brennan allowed himself a small, fierce smile. The universe was vast and ancient, filled with wonders and terrors beyond human ken. But in that moment, he knew with unshakable certainty that humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. The truth was out there, waiting to be discovered, and Earth would not rest until it was found, no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice. For in the end, that was what it meant to be human: to question, to seek, to strive, to reach for the stars even as the void reached back. And in that eternal struggle, that eternal quest for understanding, lay the very essence of the human soul. The Galactic Council awaited. Its secrets and manipulations lay bare at last, and humanity, armed with truth and an indomitable will, would meet it head-on. The future was uncertain, the path ahead fraught with peril. But one thing was clear: the universe would never be the same, and humanity would be the ones to change it.